Hello, folks. It's your boy Quan here, and today this will be starting of the Respect the Geekdom content. First thing we're going into is geeky philosophies. So, geeky philosophies I want to dive into first. I'm going to kind of dive into a lot of them throughout the week. First one is in the realm of Magic the Gathering, the color white. Now, before I go deep into this, I want to describe pretty much the colors, the ranks, the mixtures as kind of like a chakra kind of build. What I mean by that is that pretty much everyone has some of these colors in there, but of course, everyone has everyone's colors are going to be more dominant in other areas. So, if you think you held the position of the white Magic the Gathering color, listen up. Here we go. So white. Most of the time, white is known for pretty much the planes of magic. It's known for pretty much the holiness, the spirituality, also linked with it, organizations, armies, military, even spiritual, even in other spiritual ways. So, what's strength for whites? So for MTG whites, they look mostly for camaraderie. Pretty much, they want to bring people together. They search for unity. They want peace, but they also want to be. They also want to make sure that everyone's rallying to the same cause, whether it be good or bad. Some people who have the white color in them are going for pretty much the same cause. You see this in cards like Glorious Anthem. All creatures you control get +1/+1. Another way for pretty much what in the realm of the white color for MTG is morality. They mostly go based off of laws of God or spirit. Pretty much, this is not only the color of, like I mentioned, spirituality. There's also the color of healing. There's also the color of having certain things set in foundations. There's also the color for pretty much angels. This is where angels first started to pop up in Magic. There's another color that has angels, but we'll get to that in a bit. Other thing that pretty much people who have mostly white MTG color in them is they want order. They focus on the laws of man. Pretty much they have their own kind of code in a way, but they focus mostly on what's going to help them pretty much be the better person in a way. And this can also go with, them following arrests, them following soldiers, cops, even like healers, clerics in this realm. Most of the time, they want peace and unity. Now we get to the juicy stuff. So before we before we go into this direction, most of the time in Magic, it has been depicted that the color black is usually the evil color. But from what I've seen, from what I've read in certain books, not really. It's actually both colors have both good and bad in them. And usually someone can have the color white in them, but they can also be the bad traits of the white or the good traits. So I'm going to kind of treat it as if it's like a chalkboard, like I mentioned. But if they have the good parts of white, if they have a balanced part of the MTG white in them, then they'll try to have good values and good traits. They'll try to be a good person. They'll try to have a good code. Another one is they like structure, they like order. Sometimes this can also reflect that they're probably the person that cleans the most, or they're probably the person that wants everything in their certain way, that everything has to be in a certain order. Another way that someone has the good MTG white color in them is that they could have the same qualities for a great leader or a great follower. Remember the saying that pretty much before you lead, you must learn how to follow. The people that mostly have the MTG white color in them know how to follow, which means eventually they do feel and they can possibly lead. They're known to pretty much they know the rules, so they know how to rally people. And they know how to kind of slightly bend the rules, which of course that bend can also occur with other mixture of colors. They can also be known as selfless. If you see a lot of cards, especially with white global wipes, you notice they have that mentality of I'd rather I die and the bad guy dies versus let the bad guy win. And in that case, that's where their selflessness comes in. So they usually think about other people or the goal more than they focus on themselves. And the last good part of white, before we go into the bad parts, is They are strategists. If you see a lot of them, see a lot of cards, they're very strategic. There's a lot of combat tricks in the white color. There's also a lot of show of bravery. Like if a certain creature or person has a lot of bravery, or they're doing going into this mission alone, it's like, oh, I congratulate you with some +1/+1 points, or maybe some strength points, or maybe give you first strike. Just taking in the cord. Now, what happens if someone has the bad parts of white, or if it's unbalanced? Well, first thing is they can be over controlling, or they could be a dictator. Usually, white is usually known for pretty much going aggro. White weenie throwing a lot of quick, efficient threats out to overwhelm the opponent. But when that doesn't happen, it is because of its arrests, because of its code, and because of the wipes that it has. It's also very good for control, especially when you blend it with certain colors like blue or black. So it can be very over controlling in some cases. Another bad thing of having too much of the white color, or if the white color in someone is out of balance, they could focus on the many better than the few. And to me, that also goes with they want conformity. They value everyone to be in this box versus every person being in their own different kind of box, which in some cases I understand. In the army and the cops, they all got to mostly kind of agree with a certain thing. But at the same time, that also means that if someone calls you out on a wrong thing and you know it, then they'll be like, hey, you're in this box, you have this position, I need you to stay in this position. If you don't be in this position, you're not fit for it. And usually that's how I see pretty much the bad, unbalanced kind of white MTG person. And the last bad trait I see is that pretty much it's all or nothing. Just like with the global wipes, it's either they kind of, with their over controllingness, they either go like, it's either my way or the highway. We either do this or we're not going to do anything at all. And that is pretty much the how I see the bad parts when somebody has NTG white in them, but it's a little bit unbalanced. But who can be good examples of the white color, or who has this color? Well, I already mentioned a few: soldiers, cops, pretty much every first responder I believe has been pretty much threaded in them the white color symbol in them in a way. Because they pretty much care about, they're selfless, they have a good code, they think about helping people out. They have pretty much good leader or follower qualities, and they like a little bit of structure. Another thing is the government. Now, granted, I do say that the government has some white color in them. I did not say it's the only color, and you already know that pretty much there's both a good and a bad side. It depends on if they join this with a balanced MTG white color or with a unbalanced MTG white color. That determines how they may be affected. So government. Other characters involve Captain America and Black Panther. They're very good. They're very good combat people. They're very good strategists. They have good structures. They have good values. They have good codes, and they follow it. Even when everyone else tells them they shouldn't, they still do what they feel is right. And most of the time, they do it pretty to a T. And the last people that go in there, because remember, the laws of God, the laws of spirit, is pastors. Pastors have been known to be have pretty much the white color in them balance, or any kind of spiritual leader to be more versatile and all that. They pretty much follow that code of God, that code of spirit, that code of the universe, whatever religion. And because of that, they have pretty much the structure. They feel they may have the good values. They may feel they have the good traits. They may also, because of that, they have been a good follower. Thus, they're able to lead other people. So, with that being said, this will be the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, if you like my ideas, please listen up for more. The next one will be a mixture between, will be either pretty much another magic video or be something in a different geeky philosophy. That way I can get everyone's interest. But hope you have an awesome day. Click like and subscribe. Deuces.